Python can be used for rapid prototyping or for production-ready software development. It can run on the interpreter system, means the code can be executed as soon as written. So once you write the code, you can execute it. Python command line mode. So in that you have Python programming language. One is user interactive mode and another one is using script mode. Hello everyone, welcome to Python programming. I am Soundarya from CS department, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So today in this session we will learn about Introduction to Python, that is first unit. In unit 1 we will learn about Introduction to Python, why Python, what are the uses of Python, features and application, what are the advantages of Python, versions, history, and what are the IDEs that we use. So first is Introduction to Python. So what is Python? So Python is a high-level interpreted programming language. So which was developed by Guido van Rossum and released in 1991. And further it is developed by Python Software Foundation. Python was created by Guido van Rossum in the year 1991. Later it is developed by Python Software Foundation. So as I already told you, Python is a high-level interpreted programming language. High-level interpreted programming language means which is easily understood by the human and less by the computer. Suppose if you take low-level programming language, that is C and C++, that is easily understood by the computer and less by the human, C, C++ and Java. And interpreted programming language means when you write a code, Python will execute the code line by line. If you take C and C++, that it takes compile time, that is called Python. So what are the uses of Python? Where the Python is used in real world? First is web development. We use for web development, software development, obviously for software development, for gaming, mobile application, we use for that purpose mathematics. To reduce the complex problems into smaller problems, that is for mathematics and system scripting. Next is what can Python do? So using Python, what can Python do? The first thing is it can be used on the server to create web applications. So using Python, you can create web applications. Then Python can be used alongside software to create workflow. So to create workflow, Python can be used. Python can connect to database system. It can also read and modify files. So Python can be used to connect database files where you can create, insert and delete, read and modify. What are the changes that you want to bring in Python files? Using databases, you can modify the files. Python can be used to handle big data and perform complex mathematics. So it can be used to handle big data. You have a very large data that can be handled using Python and perform complex mathematics. We can perform complex mathematic programs using Python. Python can be used for rapid prototyping or for production-ready software development. So which can be used for rapid prototyping. Prototyping means once you have a design or model, so that can be developed further. That is called prototyping. Or for production-ready software development. Next is why Python. So why Python is a popular programming language which is used for various platforms. Why it is most popularly used? The first thing is it is work on the different platform. So once you write the code, you can run on many platforms. Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, so which is run on the platform. Irrespective of platform, you can run the code. So that is you can work on the different platform. Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry Pi. So Python program can be run on this different platform. Next, Python has a simple index similar to English language. Compared to C, C++, Java, Python codes and syntax are very easy, which is similar to English language. Python has a syntax that allows developer to write code with a fewer line. So once you want to code, so you can code it in a very few lines. There is no need of large piece of code that is not required. You can code it in a very few lines. Then some other programming language. Compared to other programming language, you can do coding in a very few lines. Python run on an interpreter system means the code can be executed as soon as it is written. So interpreter means once the source code help you to run the code line by line. Each line can be executed compared to other programming where you are compiling the whole program. So it can run on the interpreter system means the code can be executed as soon as written. So once you write the code, you can execute it. This means that the prototyping can be very quick. So once you write the code, it executes so that the prototype can be very quick. Python can be treated in a procedural way or in the object-oriented way or in a functional way. So Python can be treated as a procedural way. It's a procedural way means it has certain procedure, and object-oriented which help classes and object, that is called object-oriented or a functional way. Next is Python features and advantages. What are its features and advantages of using Python? First one is easy to code. As I already told you, Python is a high level interpreted programming language. So which is easy to understand for the programmer to do code, and the syntax are very simple, which is exactly like English language. Anybody can learn Python in a very few days, yet it is very effortlessly you can learn. That is easy to code compared to other like C and C++. Python, it's very easy to code and easy to learn. Next is easy to read. Easy to read means so Python, it's a very simple programming language which is similar to English language. Suppose if you take C and C++, it shows there is no bracket, semicolon. So like that it shows some syntax. So when it comes to Python, it is similar to English language. It doesn't show much error. So that is called easy to read. When it comes to reading, it is almost similar to English language. Free and open source. So free and open source means suppose if you want to download Python software, it is free and open source. So the Python programming is owned by OSIL, that is open source license. So you can download for the commercial purpose, business purpose to learn Python. You can download any Python software, but it can be easily accessed without any cost by visiting www.python.org. That is a website you can go and download any software that is for free of cost. Next is interpreted. So interpreted means program is an interpreted language. Once you write the code, the source code execute each code line by line. That is interpreted. So which define the block of code. Suppose if you say for I in range and then print. So which define the block of code. After for, it's showing print here. So that is called interpreter. Next is portable. Portable means Python is very portable. You can run Python program in various platforms like Windows. You can run on Windows, Mac, Raspberry Pi. So these are all the various platforms you can run. That is very portable, Python. So object oriented and procedural object oriented. So once you design the code which support for design and coding of the which support design. So irrespective of the logic and function which make the code reusable, that is called object, and it also support object and procedural. Next is support for GUI. So the key aspects of the programming language is GUI, that is graphical user interface. So the user can make use of the software using GUI. The tools that we use for GUI is Kinto and then GPython. So using this GUI as a very faster development for the software programmer. Next is dynamically typed. I hope you know the difference between dynamically and static. So static means constant. So when it comes to dynamic, you can change the code. That is while doing runtime, you can change the code. And while writing the code for C and C++, you need to specify the data type. Suppose if you take integer type where you are specifying hint x is equals to 5. So when it comes to Python, suppose if you take x is equals to 5 and then print type of x. So the output is hint. So x is a variable and 5 is a value. So the value is assigned to variable. So you want to know what type of x is. So you're asking Python to print the type of x, so which says it's an integer type. So for C and C++, you are telling hint x is equals to 5. So there you are telling that it's an integer type x is equals to 5. So when it comes to Python, you are not telling that is x is equals to 5. So which shows what type of integer it is. That is called dynamically typed. Next is Python application. So where will we use Python most oftenly? First is web development. For web development, we use game development. For gaming development, we use ML and AI, that is machine learning and artificial intelligence, data science and data visualization, desktop GUI, that is graphical user interface, web scraping application, business application, audio and video application, CAD application, embedding application. So these are all the application we use. Next is Python version and history. How the Python come into the world. Python was introduced by Guido van Rossum. So once he is reading a book called Manto Python Flying Series. So that is the book he is reading. At the same time, he is doing coding for Python, and he wanted to give a very unique and mysterious name, and he took from that particular book called Manto Python Flying Series. So from that book, he chose the word Python. Then a new programming language come into exist. So the Python leads its foundation in the late 1980s. So he started writing code in the late 1980s. So implementation of the Python was started in December 1989 by the Guido van Rossum at CWI in Netherlands. So it was started in December 1989 by the Guido van Rossum at CWI in Netherlands. In February 1991, Guido van Rossum published the code labeled version 0.901 to ALT sources. So in February 1991, he just published the code. The code that he published, he labeled it as 0.90 to alt sources. So in 1994, Python 1, that is the first version, was released with the new features like lambda, map, filter and reduces. So Python first version come into exist in 1994 with a few features like lambda, map, filter and reduces. So Python 2.0 added new features such as list, comprehension, garbage collection system. So in Python 2.0, that is new features added such as list, comprehenses, garbage collection. On December 3rd, 2008, Python 3 was also called as PY3K was released, and it was designed to rectify the fundamental flaw of the languages. ABC programming language is said to be the predecessor of the Python language, which was capable of exception handling and interfacing with the Amoeba operating system. So ABC language was said to be the predecessor of the Python languages, so which was capable of exception handling the errors that occurs during execution and interface of the Amoeba operating system. Next is Python versions. From 1994 to 2019, there are various versions coming to exist. So Python first version January 1994 and 1.5 in the December 31st, 1997 and 1.6 September 5th, 2000 and Python 2.0 October 16, 2000 and Python 2.1 April 17, 2001, Python 2.2 December 21st, 2001, Python 2.3 July 29, 2003, Python 2.4 November 30, 2004, Python 2.5 September 19, 2006, Python 2.6 October 1st, 2008. And then Python 2.7 July 3, 2010, Python 3.0 December 3, 2008, Python 3.1 July 27, 2009, Python 3.2 February 28, 2011, Python 3.3 September 29, 2012, Python 3.4 March 16, 2014, Python 3.5 September 13, 2015, Python 3.6 October 23rd, 2016 and Python 3.7 July 27, 2018. The last version is Python 3.8 October 14, 2019. Next is how to install Python on Windows. So installing Python Windows takes a series of few easy steps. So the step 1 is Select the version of the Python to install. There are various versions as you already see. So which version you want to download? Select that version. Download Python extensible installer. So first you need to download Python extensible installer and then run executable installer. Verify Python is installed on Windows. Next is Python command line mode. So in that you have Python programming language. One is user interactive mode and another one is using script mode. So the system of writing script or anything is referred to as script etymologically. So what are you writing inside the script? It is referred as script inside the system. So we first write the Python programming inside a file like a script. So whatever you write a program inside a file, that is considered, once you write the Python program inside the script, that is inside a file, that is considered as script in the script mode, and then we execute the file after saving it in our system. So after saving your program, we started executing it. That is called script mode. So once you write the Python program in the script, so you started saving it and then execute it. So what are the changes that you want to do? You can do modification as many times as you want, and you can save it and you can run as many times as you want. And in script mode, you can choose long piece of code as well. So most of the developer use interactive mode, so which is very convenient for them to code. Next is Python IDEs. So IDEs stand for Integrated Development Environment. So in that we have source code, compiler or interpreter, an integrated debugger. So once you written the code, suppose if there are any error occur, you can debug it. A graphical user interface, that is GUI. So what are the IDEs that we use? That are the software we use to run Python. IDLE. So IDLE stand for Integrated Development and Learning Environment. So it's a default editor that accompanies Python. It is a default editor which accomplishes Python. So the IDE is suitable for beginner level developer. So these IDE which is for the beginner level developer, they can make use of the software. The IDE tool can be used on the Mac OS, Windows and Linux. So these tools can be used on Mac, Linux and then Windows. Next is PyCharm. PyCharm is widely used. So Python is widely used IDEs created by JetBeans. So JetBeans was created PyCharm. So this IDE is suitable for professional developers and facilitates the development of the large Python project, support for the JavaScript, CSS and the TypeScript. So Python is basically for the professional users, those who are developing any app, they can make use of that, and then which supports JavaScript, CSS, cascading style and then TypeScript. Next is Jupyter. Jupyter is widely used in the field of data science. Those who are using data science, they can make use of Jupyter, and it is easy to use, interactive and allow live code sharing and visualization. So which is very to use and interactive and allow the live code. What are the live code that they have having, and sharing and visualization, that is representation. Next is Spider. Spider is an open source, means which is free to download IDE, most commonly used for scientific development. Spider comes with the Anaconda distribution, which is popular for the data science and machine learning. So Spider, which is commonly used for data science and machine learning. So these are the IDEs that are commonly used in Python. Thank you.